Hey everyone, so I had a request to show some different ways to blend out different colors of pink. I don't know that I'm going to be able to provide different ways of blending, but I can definitely show you how the color pink, no matter which level of pink it is blendable with a lot of different colors and the uses for the color pink outside of just your typical florals. But I wanted to show you something first that some of you may or may not already know. So up here, if you can see, you could zoom in by, opening up and pinching and squeezing on the video, just like you would a picture. But I've put grass green, the red, which is red 923, and true blue, which is number 903 in your Prismacolors. I've put those three colors here because I wanted to show you something that may help some of you when it comes to blending out colors and getting the colors to look a certain way. First things first, a lot of people, when they think about blending, they grab a white pencil. They don't grab another colored pencil, but they grab a white. So what I want to show you is what happens when you use your white pencil to blend out your colors. Basically what you're doing, because the Prismacolor white pencil is opaque, it's not really designed to be used as a blender. It is a white pencil. It creates a very different look and it dulls out your colors. So for example, when I have the grass green here. So when I go in and I blend my white with my grass green, it's fading out that bright grass green color and muting it down, almost giving it a pastel look. So that's what happens when you add white to your pencils. So you're dulling out your color and you're getting a completely different shade. So it's the same as when you go over here and you do it with red. When you blend out that red, what do you get? Red and white makes pink. So that's what you get here. You get a level of pink depending on which color red you use. Now I'm gonna wipe my pencil off here. And when you go over to your blue, it's the same effect. You're getting more of a muted pastel blue, depending on which level of blue you're using. So using your white pencil to blend with is not always the best choice for a blending option. Depending on what look you're going for, if you want to keep your colors bright and active, you want to use a different blending technique. Whether it's just a regular fiber blending pencil like the Prismacolors is, or if you really want to make your colors pop, you want to use something like this, which this is a full blender / bright. What that means is it's going to brighten your colors and make them pop off the page. So instead of dulling them out and making them pastel-like, you're going to really make those colors pop off the page. So here it's keeping the same color, grass green. And as you can see, it's a clear wax that's being applied. And it doesn't really blend them a whole lot as the pencil says it does. What it does is it brightens up those colors and blends it into the paper a little bit better. So if you have more than one level of color here or one layer, you're going to get a completely different look. So when I bring it over here to the red, you'll notice that red stays red. It doesn't fade out to a pink, but it starts to pale out to like a reddish orange as you go lighter. So keep that in mind when you're blending your pencil colors together. I always say when you want to pale it out or pastel it out, grab the white. When you want to chrome it out, grab the bright. So just like the blue here, you can see I'm blending it into the grain of the paper. And as I pull it outward, because I don't have another color there, it just kind of blends away. But it brightens that blue up and it keeps the same level of blue. So you can see here, from what the white did to what the clear did. So there's a big definition there on what choices you use when it comes to your blending pencils. So keep that in mind if you're one to quickly grab a blending pencil. Don't run for your white. It is not designed to be a blender. It's a white pencil. And I suggest that you use it when you're wanting to fade out those colors, or for example, skin tones or pastel tones, or something along those lines. It is a good way to learn blending techniques by using your white, but let's do the green and blue here. So if I come down here with the green, and I just put a light layer of that green, I'm gonna try to get this in there really quick. Get some color in this toothy paper I'm using. Okay, and then let me grab a different blue here. I'm gonna do the light cerulean blue. So if I use that light cerulean blue with that green, you can see how I'm pulling just the edge of that green color up in small circles. So I'm already blending the two colors just by doing that, and using a light touch and just repeating it over and over until you've got that color blended where you want it. That is the best way to blend those lines, is practice using the actual colors. And then now I'm going to use the clear pencil. When I go to blend it up, I'm going to start with this inner, or the upper portion, I should say. And I'm just going over the color. So I'm going to pull it up and blend it, pull it up and blend it. And I'm actually doing little circles. So now remember, I didn't use that true blue, I used a different blue. So it moves that color around just a little bit, but it's not really designed to be your main blender. It's a brightener pencil. So it will blend a little bit, but it's made to brighten those colors up and blend that into the paper. Okay, so there you can see the green and the blue together, and I left the top of it white there. But that's kind of what you're trying to do with your blending pencils. And I just wanted to really point that out between these two pencils and what's so important about them, because when in doubt, the white will pale it out. When you want to chrome it out, grab the clear. So I hope that little tip right there helps you guys out. So bright, clear, pale white. Okay, now we're going to jump to what this video was for, which was blending some pinks with some random colors. So again, let me move this aside here. I got my pencils all pulled out. So I'm going to start with a couple different colors. And what I've done is, as you'll see here, I put 929 here, just a couple starters of 929. And the reason I did that is because I want to use some pale colors here, which I'm guessing is pretty typical of what most people are going to use when they do flowers. So for example, 929 with 914, when you add that color, it's going to turn it more of a pastel. So your lighter, creamier colors are going to give you more of a pastel look. So when you blend those two together, you're always going to have to work a little harder, especially with your lighter colors. But if you fade it correctly, you shouldn't have a real distinct edge there between the two colors fading out. So that would be one of your lighter colors. Now, if I were to grab, let's say, my bright yellow here, which 916, which is your canary yellow, and I use that with that pink, it's gonna, one, grab the edge of that pink, and as you're blending out, it's going to give a really bright effect to that pink right along that edge, almost an orangey color. So you get that different layer in there of color right at the line where you're blending. So there's so many different ways to do that. Now let me grab a, I like to do peach. Let me grab this peach. And we're gonna do this light peach here with this pink. This always turns out really pretty. So just grabbing that peach. And you probably still can see some speckles of white in my paper, and that's because I'm not pushing really hard and I'm not burnishing. But you can get very different looks when it comes to blending out your pink colors, depending on if you want to go bright, if you want to go pale, or if you want to go dark. So let me set these three aside. Let me grab the 993, which is a your hot pink color in the Prismacolor. Actually, I want to do something different here. Let me grab the 931, which is that dark purple. So let's grab the 931, and I'm going to start with a deep color at the base of this flower. Now, just because I'm using a flower chart, it doesn't mean that these are flower specific colors. It's just a chart that I started doing these blending videos with. And if you're curious where I got it from Color with Claire off her Kofi site. So you're more than welcome to go there, and she has lots of wonderful charts you can download and print yourself. Okay, so I've added a dark layer here, and then as I pulled it up, I faded it out to a little light layer. So now I'm going to add that pink to it, but I'm not going to go over the entire dark area, just grabbing a little bit above where I want that line to start, or I want that fade to begin, and I'm doing small circles and pulling the color up to the area where there is no color. So keep in mind, you don't need to press hard to do this with Prismacolors. Just light layers and small circles, and you will manage to get that blend to pull upward. So that's just using two colors there. And you can see it kind of gives it a pinkish purple look to it. Now, you want to add a third color to that. A great color to add on the end of that would be, since you're sticking with pink, would be your 1014, which is your deco pink. So you can grab that deco pink, pull it up as you're grabbing the edge of that prior pink color. So it's just an example of how your pinks can work together, and especially with dark colors. I'm just going to go down here just a little bit. I got some marks. But anyway, it's not perfect, but it gives you an idea. Pink goes with so many colors, because what makes pink? Red and white. So if red and white makes pink, those are two colors right there are great for working with pinks. So for examples, your cheeks on your face, red, pink, and white. Throw a little peach in there. You've got different shades of blush or cheek color. There's so many different ways to use pink besides just florals. You can even use pinks on botanicals, like greens, like leaves and shrubs, because some plants do have pink on them as the seasons change. So let's grab 930. It's a deeper pink, and I'm going to go over here with it. This pencil's about done. I've sharpened it just a little too crazy here. You probably can't see what I'm doing because my hand's in the way, but I'll move here in just a second. I'm just adding a layer at the base of the petal. trying to keep it light, but my pencil is way too sharp. Let's see what I can do here. Dull that little sucker down a little bit. Okay. I had like a razor sharp point on there. Okay, so now I'm gonna grab 993 because that goes good with 930. But it doesn't matter what pink you grab because it's still in the pink family. Any pink you grab will go good with that. Even if you wanted to start with a dark red and then do the 930. So deeper colors come out beautiful as well. But I'm gonna get into some different colors with pink here in just a second. But I just wanted to give you an idea of some basic blends that you can do in thinking outside the box a little bit. So now I'm gonna grab 914. So I did the two different tones of pink there, and I'm grabbing my cream color. And I'm just blending a little bit on the edge of that light pink. There you go. So you can see how this contrasts with the super dark or bright pink as it fades out, which dark to light, light to dark, however you like to do it. Contrasting colors are always beautiful when it comes to artwork. So let me flip to the back of my color stash here. So I'm gonna actually grab my 1052, which is my 30% warm gray. So I can show you here, when I do a warm gray with pink, what happens. And I know people are going, oh my gosh, what would you use that on? Well, believe it or not, you can use your grays and pinks for woodwork, like antiquing old furniture, old cloth, clothing, faded out buildings. There's so many different ways to use the pink and gray combination. You can use it on mountains, like as the sun's hitting it, in the sky as a sunset. So I'm grabbing my palest pink next, which is going to be my 1014, my Deco Pink. I believe that's the lightest one. And I'm gonna mix that just with the tip of that gray. And I'm gonna blend it up. And please bear in mind, I'm not doing super heavy layers here. I'm just doing a light layer to give you guys ideas. Otherwise, we'd be here for 3 hours. So you got that pink and gray combination there. And you can always come back in here and add more of both colors. That's why I say when you keep it light, it's always best because you can always come back in and add more instead of just going heavy-handed and burnishing your paper right away. One, it can damage your Prismacolors, and two, then you get a blend you may or may not like. So on this blend in particular, you can add a little bit of white to the tip of that petal if you're using it for a flower, or you can come in with a darker gray, like let's say, oh, if I could pull it out here, your 90% cool gray, and you can come in right here at the bottom really lightly and just add a little bit to the corners to kind of give it some shading. It's not a lot, it's not dramatic, but when it's all a cohesive image, you'll see that shading come together. So let's grab, randomly picked it, 941, and I'm not kidding, I just grabbed it. There's no rhyme to this. So 941, which is one of your browns, it's one of your lighter browns, and it's a pretty common color to use when creating wood, dirt, tree trunks, hair, some skin tones, depending on what you're doing. But brown and pink even go together. And people think, oh my gosh, that's going to be so ugly. It's going to be so muddy looking. Well, that comes back to technique. So not pressing hard again is the key here to blending these colors. Now, pink and brown seems so off the wall, but brown, a lot of your browns have reds in them or oranges. So I'm going to take my pale pink again. You'll notice this is going to be one of your most popular pinks. And I'm going to come in here just with the edge of that 941. I'm doing some small light circles and I'm pulling that color up. So when you think about, let's say, doing somebody's eyebrows on a portrait, and you kind of want that skin tone to pop it through there, but you have like a fairly pink skin tone, this is a great one because you can lay down a light layer of that pink and then do your fine line work with your brown pencil and still get the look you're going for. So there's the pink and brown. Now I know people are like, oh my gosh, she's crazy. Well, no, it's just people don't always think about doing certain colors with off colors. And a lot of times it works in an image. It may not look great here, but it works in the image. So we all know purple and pink blend really good. So 1009. And this is one where it's a rich, bright purple. And that's where you can lean more towards your reds. But even applying an orange or an orangey pink to this purple, like Halloween, is a great contrasting color. Green, like grass green, that's also a great one with this color, but we're focusing on pinks. So what I'm gonna do is grab the 930, I think, will be a good one, since we've already done that one. Okay, so you can see I went a little heavy towards the base because I want that purple to show. And I lightly faded it up. So I'm going to grab the 930. And again, I'm just going to start up here with light, small circles, grabbing just the top of that 930 color and blending up in small circles. And light pressure. And now I'm just going to repeat that until I get the layered look that I'm after and I get that line between the two colors blended. And you'll start to see the colors coming together and start to pop off the page. And you should be able to see that fine line where the two colors have come together, but it's a nice, smooth transition between the two. And again, if you need to go back in and do more layers of the purple and then the red, or the purple and the hot pink, so to say, the deep pink, certainly do that. Don't get frustrated early on and say, oh my gosh, that looks terrible. Just keep building your layers. It's a patience thing with the layers sometimes to get your colors just right. So let me grab the purple again. And I'm just sticking with the same area that I laid the purple down before. I'm not going outside of that. I'm just repeating light layers. And again, I have a sharp tip, so you know I'm not pressing very hard because these are Prismacolors. Okay, now I'm going to grab my hot pink again, or my 930, sorry. Hot pink is 993. And you can see how I just built up the layers very slowly, but lightly. So you can see how you can't see a really sharp line between the two colors. That's what you're going for. And it always helps to practice. So I always say practice, practice, practice. Let's grab this one since it's so, your cadmium orange, number 118. Let's do this one with a pink. Just something different. And you're probably saying, oh my gosh, what would I use that for? All kinds of things. You can use it on clothing, again, skin tones, mushrooms. Pink is a really universal color, and it can be blended with, I don't want to say everything, but with a lot of stuff. So I'm going to use a different pink this time. I think I'm going to go with my, I'm going to go with my blush pink on this one. So again, I'm only using 2 colors, making this very simple. So you can certainly add more colors if you like. And there's no really rhyme or reason why I'm using certain pinks. I suggest that you try everything. Grab one of these color charts, randomly grab your Prismacolors and just start filling in a whole bunch of different colors, and then grab your pinks and blend them out and see what you get. The flower petals seem to be a nice way to do it. But you never know what color combinations you'll come up with. And then you'll start realizing, oh my gosh, I can use that for this, or I can use that for this. So your orange and your pink, perfect combination. Now, greens. I am going to grab, see here. Let's grab 120, which is your sap green light. Excuse me here. And like some of your tropical plants, when the seasons change, even like poinsettias, they'll get some pink on the leaves. Or in the fall, some of your maple leaves get a pinkish red, orangey yellow color. Pink is not outside of nature's realm. And it does blend with green. Maybe not every color of green. You may have to use a different color in between, adding, 3 and 4 colors when you're blending. But you can get a beautiful color tone with your greens. There it is. I lost track of my deco pink, and that's the color I'm going to use here because it's a lighter pink with a lighter green. And again, just grabbing the edge of that green and going up, making sure to blend right at that line. So blend really well. And again, if you have to come back over it with your green and your pink again, don't be afraid to do that. Just remember, lighter layers are better. Easier to fix mistakes and move the color around when you do that. Because Prismacolors are great for manipulating the color on the paper. Almost like a paint, but in a pencil, so to say. I know that sounds weird, but they move very liquidy. Okay, so you can see I did that, and now let me put this 914, this cream color, right at the tip, just to show you. I'm just gonna bring it down along the edge here. I know it's gonna be hard to see it on camera, but hopefully it appears well. So you got some green mixed in with your pink. Now think of that on a leaf instead of a flower petal. So let me grab my Tuscan red. So your 937, I use this color combo on some types of ferns, especially little ones like jungle plants or fall scenes, because it just changes the color enough of that deep brownish red with the Tuscan red has. And all my pencils are pretty much with extenders. So, okay, you got your Deco Pink here. I'm coming off that Tuscan red now with my Deco Pink. I might have got a little too heavy there on the fine line. I should have went a little lighter, but that's all right. It'll be easier for you to see. So you can see how that pale pink really plays out with that Tuscan red. Grab that one more time right here at the bottom. Again, I'm not trying to be perfect. I just trying to give you an idea of how you can use different colors with different variations of your pink. So, and then again, you can grab cream, you can grab, let's use 140 to the edge here, just to give it a third color to really show that depth. And I'm just gonna come around the edge here. There. So Tuscan red is like a brown and a red and a purple. But if you think of that on a leaf, it gives you a whole new color palette to start using. And again, that's with the use of the pink. So pink is a great color. And oops, I dropped the pencil. I highly suggest you use your pinks just to practice what you can create with pink. So let me grab this blue here. This is like that 992, the aqua. So we'll go in here with the blue. And yes, I'm gonna use pink. Pink for the blue blend here. And again, this color would be a good combination for underwater, like on a rock, giving it kind of that. So you see a rock like in the river and the water's running over it. It's not necessarily brown from the dirt or green from the algae. It's got a combination of colors there. So that's where you start thinking outside, and you got your blue and you got your pink, which this is the Deco Pink. So again, it's the same technique as I always use. So you're just blending right at that very edge with that blue. And you can see how it just barely changes the color profile just a little bit. So again, keep in mind, these aren't perfect blends. They're just, I want to make sure you can see the different tones as I'm doing them. But it opens it up to so many different levels. So you have, what's this? Mahogany red, which is technically a brown, but also a red. So your mahogany is a deep, rich color. And this one I like to use on like fallen tree stumps. I'll use this, and then I'll layer some of my chocolate brown and my 941 and my sandbar brown, and I'll use my yellow ochre, which gives it that natural look to the colors that change as wood is, I guess, decaying. But you can get such beautiful colors when you just throw in something outside of the norm. This is also a great color for animals, for fur. Just to throw in that extra color, because, you know, when you look at fur on pets, they have so many different vibrant colors in their fur. Trying not to get too heavy as I pull it out here. Okay, so that's my mahogany. And for that one, I'm going to use my pink rose color, which is 1018. And I'm just, again, grabbing the edge of that mahogany, small circles, and pulling it up. And the pink rose is like a grayish pink. So you can always keep that in the back of your mind, that it's got some gray tone to it. So you can always grab like your really light grays and add that as a blending color as well. By blending color, I mean you can add that in. So you can use the mahogany, the gray, and this pink rose. There you go. So that shows you that the versatility of the pink colors here. And let me grab my 30% French gray here, and I will just do the tip so you can see that. I just put a little bit of that French gray right on the edge. Pretty cool. So many things that you can learn just from different people and different techniques and how to apply color, especially different colors and different tones. So let's say you're working with really dark colors, like this is my dark green. So if you're working with a dark green and you have pink, you know that that pink is going to look really funky. And like I said, pink goes with a lot of things, but there's a few colors it might just look really weird next to. So if you have a dark green and you have something next to it that's pink, and you want to make it look like it's supposed to be there naturally in a way, you can always try, again, this technique by using random blending and random color pulls to see what you can develop. So when you run into something like this and you're like, oh my gosh, I got this dark green leaf next to this purple flower, but there's this space in between, then I want to do a background color there, but I don't want it super dark. I don't want it super light. And you want to use a different color, so you choose pink. So when I recommend doing with something like this is you go from a dark green to a medium green. So with that dark green laid out, I'm gonna grab my apple green and I'm gonna go up with my apple green. So what I'm doing is I'm paling out that deep dark green. So I'm adding a second level of color in here, still keeping the dark green, but instead of such a deep contrast, which next to that dark green, red would look beautiful, or even that 930, that deep fuchsia pink. But instead of going straight to the dark, you can change your temperature of your color just enough where you can add in that paler color and still make it work. I think I got a little too heavy with my green here. Okay, so where did my color go? Flipping through here. Where is it? There it is. So I'm using my blush pink here. Actually, yeah, I'm gonna try the blush pink. So I'm gonna go along the edge of that green, that lighter green, and I'm gonna put this blush pink in there. So I'm blending it just a little bit with the green, not a lot, but just a hair so it looks like it's kind of faded together. Almost like it's smeared, like an ink smear maybe. There. So you can see how you can actually graduate towards different colors, especially when you're going from dark to light, or you think the color's not gonna work. There are ways to make almost every color work together. It's just really up to you what you're trying to achieve. Let me see here. The clay rose. I know I did a bunch of combinations with clay rose. Clay rose is a great color for so many different reasons. Clay rose also blends really well with pink. And you can use dark pinks, light pinks, hot pinks. But again, it's depending on what level of warmth or cold you're after when it comes to the item you're working on. So this one I'm going to grab the pink rose, and I'm going to apply that as my second color. So if I was using this like on a windowsill or an old building, the outside of the stairs, or even on like the tree trunk at the base where you want those different colors, like the sun would be hitting it, it's a good blend. So you can see the clay rose works with this pink very well. And then I'm going to grab my paler pink. And right on the edge there. I want to put some more of this pink in here. Coming back to my pink rose here. Just want to get a little bit richer on the pink rose color. And that pale pink again. Okay. Excuse me. So you can see varying levels of pink with varying, how do I say that? With different levels and different tones of other colors. So if you want to go from warm to cold or cold to warm, you always want to go either dark to light or light to dark. So in theory, you don't want to put a dark color in between two pale colors unless you're looking for that really sharp definition between the two, which would be kind of like this. You got two darker colors and the pale color in the center, but you still want to try to blend those lines together. So when you're doing your coloring pages, I try to look at things like, what color am I going to make this item? Am I going to make that bucket black? Am I going to make it red? Am I going to make it silver? Well, what other colors can I blend with silver to give it the look I'm after? If you want to give it that bright look, you can always grab your bright pencil, which you could put your colors down and then just go over it with the brightener. Now remember, it doesn't necessarily blend, it blends into the paper, but it will brighten up the colors very beautifully, just like that. So you really make those colors stand up. It does provide some ability to blend, but this is one of the better brighteners I've found, and it really makes the page stand out when you use it. So let me see here. We can do one of these yellows. Let's grab jasmine. So let me put the jasmine here. We'll put a layer of jasmine down. It's kind of a sandy yellow color. And this is also a great color for working on woods and dirts and trees, and it's also a good skin tone for blending. When it comes to darker skin tones, jasmine is a good one. It's also great for animal fur and the facial areas around the cheeks, like around your whiskers. So again, with the pale pink or the deco pink, and you can see how that deco pink just plays off the brightness of that yellow. But you still have that pale effect. It's a good combo. And I know when people think pink and yellow, pink and green, they think Easter right away, pastels. But it doesn't have to be that way, because you can use a bright green and a bright pink, or a deep blue and a deep pink, almost a red. So there's many different ways to use all those colors. Flower pots, glasses, coffee cups, lips, face and hands and skin, and dirt, rocks, soil. If you think, like when you're sitting around and you look outside and the sun's shining and it's hitting the rocks or the concrete outside, you don't just see the bright glow of the sun, but you see the different colors on the concrete and on the dirt. So you see the light greens of the moss, the bright greens of the grass. You see the browns and the grays from the dirt and the rocks. And you'll see black from the concrete. So when you see all those colors, they kind of blend together. And when that sun hits it, you're gonna get that almost like rainbow or prism effect from the heat off the concrete. So yes, applying a little bit of your pinks, like your pink rose, to your darker grays, it works, and it works well together. You just have to think, what am I going for? And not be afraid to try it, because what's gonna happen, you've practiced a bunch of different blends with some flower petals and you found some that are just really gosh awful. Don't ever use them. But also don't give up. So I know some people say, oh, I never use my fluorescent colors. Well, let's take the fluorescent pink, since this is about using different pinks. And let's grab the 930. Let's put it up here on this little guy. So I got extra space here. So I'm going to put a rich coat right at the bottom of the petal. And this is a good combination for like, besides flowers, balloons, lips, fingernails, all kinds of things. And I guess it really depends on what you're coloring too. So I'm gonna take my hot pink here and I'm gonna go over all of that, over the 930. And again, I'm gonna blend it upwards into the faded or lighter area that I laid the 930 down. And you'll see what it does to that 930. And I'm working it out up to the tip, and you'll start to see that neon pink come through at the tip. I'm just going to keep blending here. Bring it up right into the white of the paper. Sometimes those black lines, I don't know why it feels like it's hard to get right up next to the edge of those black lines. I know I'm not alone on that. Okay. So you see how that pink, just adding that neon pink, changed the entire contrast of the fuchsia. Even though you can still see that rich, deep fuchsia there at the base, you've got this bright pink coming up off the top, which is a great color. This pink can be applied to so many things, especially when it comes to your face. A lot of portraits, this pink is really good for use on the lips, around the cheeks, and for highlighting. Don't just think neon. It blends good with purples. So thinking again outside the box, you can always change any color to something else. So if red and white makes pink, you know that pink can blend well with reds and your white. And you have pink, so what other color goes with pink? Well, you got red, so what goes with red? Orange goes with red, green, purple. So all those colors, eventually you can blend them with your pinks. It's just a matter of getting that right tone of pink and that right tone of your deep color that you're after. So let me see. Let's use 1056. So if I take the 70% warm gray and I go down here with this really rich gray. For example, if I'm using this like on a painted sign or a painted building or something. And I'm like, wow, I have to use my pink in this. How am I going to absolutely accomplish using pink without it turn into mud and muck and just looking like a terrible choice in my design? I mean, we're not all going to know which colors to choose at all times. That's why I say sit down and blend these out. Play with your colors and see what you get. There's no right or wrong in it. So you got that rich gray. What you want to do is go to your next level gray down in the same family. So I'm going to grab my 50% gray now, and I'm going to blend that out. I'm going to add it just to the edge. I'm going to blend upward really lightly. And I'm going to keep using different levels of lighter gray until I get the gray that I want, that I think will look good with that tone of pink or that tone of light green. So you just want to keep layering it, just like if you were making silver. There's so many ways to create different depths of silver and gold and copper. So that was 1054. Now 1052 is over here somewhere. Where is it? It ran away from me. You should see my table. It's a hot mess because I pulled so many colors out. Where is it? Sitting on my table here. I know it. There it is. So now I'm going to pull 1052, which is the 30% warm gray, since that's the next lightest gray. And I'm just building the color again, lightly, fading it up. And I'm right about that point where I think, oh my gosh, that's a great combination of grays. I can get that antique look or faded out sun look by applying a little bit of the pink. So like you see these old buildings in some of these old Western towns, they have like a grayish blue paint. And then you see like pink in the wood from the wood grain just being beat with the sun. Kind of like antiquing that color. So now I'm adding my Deco Pink to that very light gray area. Just mixing the two colors. And this also works really good on rocks. So again, you can see how you can go from really dark to really light colors. And again, it matters on what you're coloring and what look you're after. So don't be afraid to try unique colors such as gray, dark gray, and light pink, because you can use those in-between gray colors to eventually get to where you can put that light pink down and blend it and it'll look beautiful. So I want to give you a million different color blends for pink, and I have so many that I can share with you, and I will do some color blends on a different video. I do want to try to do 3, 4, and 5 color blends with you guys, but right now I'm still trying to keep it easy to understand for all skill levels. But I hope I added a little bit of insight on how you can use different colors with different tones, mainly the color pink, and how it applies to not only gray, green, blue, orange, yellow, but how you can do that and the best way to use your white and this full blender. Don't get me wrong, this is a completely different blender than the Prismacolor blender. The Prismacolor blender is a dry blender. It's more like a compressed fiber pencil that moves the color around and pushes it into the paper. This is like using a full wax Prismacolor without the color in it. So you will be able to move the color into the paper, but it's not going to change the overall color itself. That is what happens when you use white as a blender. It changes and mutes down your color palette. So if you want a bright blue to turn to a pastel blue, by all means use white. So try a different blending pencil if that helps you get your blending lines better. I suggest this one, which is, again, the Derwent Full Blender Bright. I believe that's right, yeah. So there's a couple out there I also like. No, this one's, that's Karen Diash. Or is that Derwent? No, that's Derwent. I can't remember. I think it's Derwent. So there's also the Derwent Burnisher, which is more of a dry burnisher pencil. That's like the Prismacolor one. So there is this one, which is the Karen Diash, which again, it's a different kind of blender. And as you see here, it's changing the color as I blend this here. It's kind of muddling the color a little bit. I'm really picky if I use a blender, and that's the number one thing I don't like. I don't want to change the color of my colored pencil. Unless, of course, that's the look I'm going for. But anyways, blah, blah, blah. We can go on forever about blender pencils and what they do and how they work. My main focus today was to give you some ideas and some different choices for using your pink. So get out there, go to Claire's Kofi site. I'll put the link in the description of the video. Grab your pink pencils and print one of these off and just sit down and apply different colors with different levels of pink and see what you come up with. There's also other charts on there you could print off. So if you can't get around the fact that these are flowers, try printing out some of her other charts, her leaf charts, and try the pink blends with different greens on the leaf charts. Sometimes it's helpful to do that, and then you can see what you can accomplish. You might be pretty amazed just how much you're missing out when you forget to use your pinks other than strictly on florals, because there's so many options to choose from when it comes to using the different levels of pink that are in your Prismacolor set. All right, you guys, it's been fun. Until next time, happy creating and thanks for watching.